Welcome, welcome. But before we get to our prediction, before we get to our video, I would like to give another shout out to my man, Bookies_Death on IG. So you can find him on IG. The man has 10 plus years of experience betting, so he'll give you the complimentary betting advice to maybe my predictions or maybe his predictions, but either way, he'll give you that complimentary, like, he'll give you that experience. So, like, you're consulting before you make a bet. This guy, can maximize your bet. Probably same exact prediction, but how you best can maximize and make your money off of your prediction. So you can take my predictions, maybe take his, give his insight, get my insight. You pick our brains. But as far as him, he'll give you that more one-on-one because that's what he does. Right now, I just give you my predictions. I might give you a little tidbits here and there, but I'm not gonna be the guy that's sitting down there, sitting at a table with you or sitting on the phone with you necessarily and giving you all that insight. I'm gonna get my predictions, drop them. Might drop a little parlay or two here and there, give y'all some little tips just for tuning in if y'all ask. But he's going to give you the full service. Yes, it might come with a little bit of payment, but you probably get some notes out of him prior to paying him. And if you like those things that pay out for you or, you like his knowledge, you like what you're hearing, then invest more. I'm never going to say just go out there and just throw your money, get this guy $10 and $20 billion like that. But yeah, try to get as much you get out free. Take my recommendation. If you like it, go further. But again, don't be a sheep. Do your own intel, ask your own questions, and go to them. And I once again send you off to Bookies_Death. I'm not saying I'm just sending you guys off and I'm about to abandon y'all. I'm just saying, come here. I'm gonna be here every single week, every single weekend, every single time there's a fight. Bellator, UFC, sometimes PFL. But as far as you want to get deeper into the predictions, deeper into the betting side of things, he's the guy that can help you right now. So go over to him, Bookies_Death on IG, and again, link will be in the description. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the 4-card fights for UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, Priscilla Caccoera versus Jillian Robertson. And I see the one right here between Caccoera versus Robertson. I feel like we already kind of know who Robertson is. She's getting a little bit better, like a little margins better. She's still a very, very young fighter, but just seeing like little improvements. Caccoera, we're seeing more improvements with her. But in the past, her grappling has been her overall technique has been very much below caliber. But yeah, you start to see a little bit of improvements. So it's a lot of X factors. Like, can Caccoera keep us on the feet? Can she muscle around Jillian Robertson? Can she stand on her feet long enough that she can touch Robertson up and Robertson just goes on and quit like she does when pressured or when tagged? Who knows? But I'm going to lean to Robertson to win this one. I know I like Caccoera's improvements, but still I very much have not seen them truly tested just yet. And we have seen her in the past lose fights just to getting out-grappled. And I feel like that's what Robertson's going to do. I feel like Robertson's going to be able to find a way to get to the ground, maybe take advantage of Caccoera's aggression and be able to work, trip her or latch onto her and work her to the ground. I think eventually she kind of stalls her out the first round, and the second round, I think she taps her out. Catch her trying to force position or trying to escape a position, and then taps her, takes her back and taps her out in that second round. So in this fight, I have Jillian Robertson via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Randy Costa versus Tony Kelly. And how I see this one right here between Costa versus Kelly at bantamweight. I think Kelly's a solid dude, but his takedown defense, his fight IQ could be a bit questionable. Has pretty solid technique all around. But like I said, wrestling defense, grappling defense could be a little bit. Matter of fact, his submission defense ain't really bad. It's his takedown and getting back to speed. Like, he literally just be getting him takedown that no one should be giving up. And ultimately, I feel like Randy Costa just got riding a better steam right now. And I feel like he'll be stronger throughout, whereas Kelly has a style that's, going to exhaust him. Like, exhaust himself. Like, he does a lot of movement, a lot of extra exertion that just, not needed. Flashy, cool, clean, technical, and whatnot, but it just wasted energy. Like, he needs to downsize his game a little bit. But it is his game. It got him to where he's at, so he's going to stick with it. But ultimately, I feel like Randy Costa got the power, like striking relatively even. And I feel like Costa's going to be more conservative, but more effective. Maybe even mix a couple takedowns in there just because Kelly's so easy to take down. Then on the feet, I just feel like this fight wears on. Kelly's going to be there to be hit more, and Costa's power is going to be too much for him. I feel like he starts to break him down, starts to land those shots flush. And I think he puts him away early on in the third round. So in this fight, I have Randy Costa via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the featherweight division, Ryan Hall versus Derrick Derrick Minner. And I see a couple people very high on Minner for whatever reason. The guy's like, what? Maybe he's 2-1. He beat TJ Laramie. He beat Charles Rosa. And he just lost to Darren Elkins, who we go by MMA math, which is like I said, I'm not going to fully factor this based off MMA math at all. I just throw it out there. So don't be all like, oh, you're doing MMA math. Nah, it's just throwing it out there. He's got upset by Darren Elkins and got Elkins on in his last fight. And Ryan Hall made Darren Elkins look pretty much easy in their last fight. In their fight, they did fight. By the way, Derek Minor, who's TJ Laramie, Charles Rosa let anybody with some decent grappling latch onto him and hold him down for 20 rounds or whatever the case may be. So not really the greatest wins. Ryan Hall on the side, he lost to Ilia Topuria, who I feel is going to be very much like a factor in this division very soon. Like he's already on the rise, already doing big things. But Ilia Topuria is a beast and way better than anybody Derek Minor has fought in what case may be. But either way, let me not get too much into that too much. I feel like Ryan Hall is the flat out the better grappler. And I feel like, matter of fact, he'll be the better striker. And Derek Minor don't really present too much stuff that Ryan Hall is not better in. And that's just flat out how I see it. Ryan Hall, styles might be different, but Ryan Hall's jiu-jitsu is better. Striking is definitely different, but Ryan Hall's striking is better, more effective. And Derek Minor has a tendency to slow down, but I'm not going to say it's going to be like a slowdown fight. I think Ryan Hall taps him out in the first round. I think Ryan Hall goes out there to catch him with these kicks. Derek Minor tries to be aggressive with his grappling, try to test it. And Ryan Hall just shows him he down on the level and taps him out in that first round. So in this fight, I got Ryan Hall via first round submission. Now to our next fight. We have in the women's flyweight division, Erin Blanchfield versus Miranda Maverick. And I see one right here between Blanchfield versus Maverick. I think Maverick is a solid fighter and all, but I feel like a lot of people overhype her for whatever reason. Like I'm not super proud of her wrestling or super high on her wrestling, not super high on her jiu-jitsu. I think the best thing about her is her tenacity. I mean, all of those skills are solid. Striking, not really that solid, but grappling and wrestling, solid, but nothing super high to be on. Like nothing like super crazy I have not seen before. Nothing that's going to be like, oh, she stands out from the pack because of her wrestling or because of her jiu-jitsu. It's not the case. But her pace and tenacity is definitely a thing. And I feel like she can enforce that. That could be a thing. But I feel like Erin Blanchfield would just do more with less, I feel. To take advantage of the aggression, the over-aggressiveness of Maverick, be able to counters, be able to land cleaner, crisper shots. I think Blanchfield's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. I think Maverick's the better wrestler. But I feel like Blanchfield will be able to get the better of the scramble and better of the grappling situations, especially as the fight wears on. And Blanchfield stays conservative and starts to pick apart the mistakes that Maverick makes out there due to like over-aggression. Would that be on the feet on the ground? I think this is a very competitive decision. But I think Blanchfield is, like I said, I feel like she does more with less in this one. Lands a cleaner flush of strikes. Has Maverick like winging and winding up these shots and getting countered and cracked. Probably get hurt a couple times. Probably I'm gonna say she's gonna get dropped one time. Maverick has a knockout loss or at least one drop with her name on it in the next year or two. Because that woman just be having her chin up. She be so sloppy so many times on the feet. And somebody gonna make her pay for it real soon, I feel. And I mean, Blanchfield could possibly be that one. I'm not saying stop it, but I definitely could see her dropping Maverick, being sloppy. And I think she beats Maverick to a decision. So in this one, I have Erin Blanchfield via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Andre Muniz versus Eric Anders. And how's he won? Muniz versus Anders. I think Anders is a solid talent, but I just think it's all momentum is on Muniz's side right now. So this is heavily a momentum pick. Anders does have some solid takedown defense. So I feel like Muniz is going to be heavily latching onto him, try to hold on to him, probably to score a couple, very few takedowns or like half takedowns or like a single takedown, and just be able to, defend well, get back to his feet. So I see this as very much like a fight against the cage for the most part. And it's going to try to work, but ultimately I just feel like Muniz is going to just blanket him on the cage mostly and latch on him. Striking, I feel, should lean to Anders, but Anders' striking can be so inconsistent. His performances can be so inconsistent. So I can't even say like Anders has like a clear striking advantage, but Muniz does have a clear grappling advantage. Anders might have some solid takedown defense, but again, I think Muniz is going to be smart, crowd of space, lean on him, latch on him. And it's not like Anders is such a guy that's so great at getting off the cage. I feel like he has issues getting off the cage, so Muniz should not have too much of an issue holding him against the cage and working for takedown. And also Anders does have at times in these fights when it's crucial to do that last thing, like he's down like a round or two, or matter of fact, down 2 rounds, just not have that tenacity to, do what needs to be done to maybe put the gas on and get the guy out of there. or at least to maybe try to make something happen, even if the guy isn't hurt. And I feel like in the third round or later rounds, maybe even the half part of that second round, Muniz might be tired. I have not seen Muniz cardio look all that great. I feel like a lot of times I've seen him just breathing heavy and just trying to look for a desperate takedown just to ice the round off and get his hand raised. But I don't think Andrew's going to take advantage of that. I don't see him taking advantage of that. So again, I just see Muniz latching to him against the cage, working for a couple takedowns, keeping him busy, and winning just off control, really. Even if it's not like real secure takedown control, nothing but cage control, really. So in this one, or clinch control against the cage. So in this one, I got Andre Muniz via decision. Now to our next fight we have in our prelim headliner in the middleweight division. Bruno Silva, well, it's not our prelim headliner. This is in fact, it's not even nowhere near our prelim headliner, but long list of prelims right here. By the way, in the middleweight division, Bruno Silva versus Jordan Wright. How I see this one right here. I think Jordan Wright is a solid kid and whatnot. He's a solid dude. But I definitely think for the most part, at this level, he kind of falls into a one-dimensional category. I don't think his offensive wrestling is all that great. I feel like Bruno Silva has been in there with much, much better guys and been in there with the Russians, been in there. He's been around the world. He's not a guy that just fought in America. He has fought around the world and fought, the best at what he can find or what was available to him. For some world champions, beat some world champions. So the guy has experience. And so I don't really think Jordan Wright's wrestling or grappling will be anything to worry about. His striking could be a little bit of a concern, but ultimately I feel like his striking is going to play more to Bruno Silva's style. Hands down, karate style, chin up. Bruno Silva's probably be able to catch the kicks, cut him off, start landing power on him. And when Jordan Wright starts to put that power, he instantly going to be on skates. And I think Bruno Silva just walks him down, cuts him off, continues to unload on him, and puts him out in that first round. So in this fight, I got Bruno Silva via first round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuivasa. And I see one right here between Sakai versus Tuivasa. Two solid strikers. I don't think out of these guys, grappling is going to be a problem for each other. I definitely see this to be a very tight matchup. I'm going to lean to Tai Tuivasa in this one right here. I feel like Sakai's striking defense could be a bit questionable, even though he's got fights on his toes. It's not very hard to find him with your punches, with your kicks. I'm not saying Tuivasa going to throw no head kicks or flying knee. Well, he might throw a flying knee, but he's mostly going to box with him. I think he should be able to find Sakai, be able to cut the range off, get on the inside, land the flusher shots, land the cleaner combinations. Whereas Sakai is going to be looking out on fight on the outside and trying to dice him up from the outside, but not going to be doing the best job of keeping him on the outside. He's going to throw some kicks in there, but I see Tuivasa catching those kicks, coming in with body shots, entering the mid-range, entering the boxing range, and landing the flusher shots on Sakai. See, it's a very competitive fight, but I think eventually Tai Tuivasa just starts to close that gap easier and easier and starts to find the chin of Sakai, and I think he puts him away early on in the third round. So in this fight, I got Tai Tuivasa via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. And I see this one right here. I'm leaning to Pedro Munoz in this one. I'm picking Pedro Munoz in this one. I think Dominic Cruz is a solid guy, one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm not going to say top 10, but maybe top 20, maybe definitely top 30. So Dominic Cruz is one of the better guys, but is what has plagued him with his career is inactivity and injuries, is what I feel is going to plague him in this fight, inactivity and injuries. And you might say, oh, he did this and he did that, and he always been getting by on doing that for, definitely, matter of fact, this is the most of his career. Early on, he wasn't that injury prone, but his whole UFC tenure till this day is injury prone. Matter of fact, now at this point, he's been inactive so long that more than half his career, matter of fact, most of his career has been injuries because like I said, he's been inactive for like 10 years now in the UFC. So either way, it is what it is. But Dominic Cruz, ring rust don't affect the man. He'll come in there and be as good as he can. But I feel like age is not on the side. Maybe when he was like 31, 32, 33, but the man's like 36 now. I'm not saying Pedro Munoz is the youngest guy, but Pedro Munoz has been constantly oiling the well, oiling the gears, constantly out there fighting, and he's fresher. With Cruz been injured, barely fighting. It's not like he looked all that great in his last fight either. Caught several times, and now you're going to go with harder hands, heavier hands, and leg kicks and calf kicks that can definitely affect those injured areas. And I feel like that's what's going to be the case. I feel like Dominic Cruz will come out, be Dominic Cruz, be hard to hit, but I feel like Munoz's going to bait him, like he, come out there looking like he's just going to be head hunting, and Dominic Cruz going to slip the head, slip the shot up top, and Pedro Munoz's going to fake it, slam heavy on the leg kick, have Cruz twisting like Dominic. I'm not saying not like Dominic Cruz, like Carlos Condit against Tyron Woodley. I'm not saying that's going to be the end of the fight, but I could definitely see a case where Munoz early on battering the leg of Cruz. Like, I'm not saying the first minute, but like I said, once he gets him set up for, like, you know, Dink is going to be a headhunter and he's going to be his Cruz self and go out there just sticking and moving, throwing these slappy punches and bouncing on his toes and just slipping these shots and evading these shots. Pedro is going to blast that leg once he get caught. He think he got a groove and going to knock him out of that groove and continue to mix it up to that leg, to those legs, matter of fact, both legs getting battered. Then some shots to the body, some shots at the top. And Cruz does have a tendency. Matter of fact, Cruz's hands is always low. He's not a fighter that holds his hands up. So he uses his head and his feet to be his defense, like a karate guy in that sense. I'm not saying his style is karate, but the sense that karate guys use their feet and movement is their defense in most cases, or at least the ones we've seen in MMA. But and that wipe on stuff don't really work for straight punches to the face. Maybe some wide swooping bar brawler hooks, but I'm not saying he's a karate guy. I'm just got off track. But either way, I feel like Dominic Cruz is a solid guy, greatest bantamweight of all time, but I think momentum not really on his side. I'm not with him super high on the last performance. I feel like his wrestling and grappling should have looked a lot better in his last fight, which it did against Casey Kenny. Digging as many takedowns as all he could. And for that reason, I'm not really high on him going into this one. I think Pedro Munoz will be able to take it. I think Pedro Munoz will be able to stop him, which is a crazy thing to say because of how tough Cruz is and how he barely lost. And I think he only got stopped. I mean, he only got stopped one time. But yeah, I think taking away the leg is going to be a big factor. And then Cruz is going to be there to be hit more often. And ultimately, I think it's going to be a case of he's going to get injured by one of those leg kicks. And, you know, forced to fight desperate, fight a little, you know, fight different. And that's going to lead him to the power of Munoz. He's going to feel that power of Munoz get hurt, try to go for a takedown, and Munoz is going to jump right on that guillotine, that patented guillotine. I see him tapping him out in the second round. So in this fight, I have Pedro Munoz via second round submission. Now on to our prelim headliner. We have in the featherweight division, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. And how I see this one right here, Emmett versus Ige is a very exciting fight. Could definitely be fight of the night. As a matter of fact, this probably will be fight of the night. If you had to throw some money on it, this will probably be fight of the night. So Emmett versus Ige, very exciting matchup right here. Very, very good matchup right here. But I feel like Emmett has all the tools. Ige definitely got the power, and Emmett got to respect that. But Emmett's chin has held up pretty well. He's been in there with some solid guys and been able to strike with them. Whereas Ige, when he goes in with the better strikers, typically he's behind. Like against Cater, I only said one name there, but there's been some other fights. By the way, Ige, I feel like Emmett is the sharper striker between the two. And Ige in the last fight against Korean Zombie, and also in the fight against I'm forgetting the names right now, but also in the previous fight, I think it was his debut fight, he was out grappled and like he showed that he can be controlled on the ground. I feel like Emmett's the better wrestler and can score the takedowns. And I feel like Ige tries to go for the wrestling. I feel like Ige is the better submission grappler, but I feel like Emmett's gonna beat him on position. Like he's gonna control whether the fight goes to the ground or not, and he's gonna be the one on top when they are on the ground, and really neutralize a lot of Ige's game. Then on the feet, I feel like Emmett just has the faster hands and the more fleshed out striking game. Ige gonna be looking for those big shots, and Emmett's gonna have to respect it. And we'll probably feel those shots, but be able to recover, stay cleaner, stay composed, land the flusher shots, land more significant shots. Like I said, probably mix a couple takedowns in there to throw off the power of Ige and throw off him planning and really generate as much power he can behind those punches. And probably making some leg kicks in there as well. Take away some of the power with his leg kicks, and then make him have to question whether he can plant or not, because when he starts to plant and try to load up, get caught with takedowns or have to defend takedowns, now he's don't know what to do, or he has to rethink and really think about everything he does before he does it. And now when you start to think, you're not in flow state, and you're falling into that guy's game plan. And I think Emmett beats Ige to a decision in this one. Competitive fight, exciting fight, but I feel like Emmett wins this one clear on the score. So in this one, I have Josh Emmett via decision. Now to our main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the bantamweight division, Sean O'Malley versus Raulian Paiva. And I see the one right here is, I know Paiva is a dog. He's going to go out there. He's going to make it a fight no matter who he's in there with. And people could underrate him, or they could overrate O'Malley, or they could do this and do that. But one thing I would say about him, whether you say this or say this about him, Paiva probably is one of the biggest. Matter of fact, this is like what his second biggest test for O'Malley. Obviously, Oliveira was a test he did not pass, but Paiva will be the second biggest test of his career so far to date. But yeah, going with Paiva, Paiva is a very solid guy. He's very aggressive, and he's no quit attitude, and he's gonna make it a fight. In the last fight, he was supposed to get dogged by Kyler Phillips, and he was turned around, turned up the intensity, survived, and it showed like, yeah, I'm not gonna fall down for no one. Probably should have still went to Kyler Phillips, but either way, Paiva did not show any quit. And really, Probably did win those last 2 rounds, in my opinion. Should have probably been a draw, but that first round should have been a 10-8. But it is what it is. Probably did what we had to do, and no quitting that guy. He's going to make Sean O'Malley fight. He's not going to just fall down easily for Sean O'Malley. But I feel like it's been a tough fight. Sean O'Malley started to find his groove, but I feel like once O'Malley gets in the groove, it's going to be hard for Piper to catch up with him. Then ultimately, I feel like that aggression is going to lead him into counters from O'Malley, and I see O'Malley putting him out in the 3rd round. So in this fight, I got Sean O'Malley via 3rd round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Carr France versus Cody Garbrandt. And I see this fight right here between Carr France versus Cody Garbrandt. I think Cody Garbrandt's a solid dude and all. I think, I don't know, maybe he's doing the work, putting the work in to make it to flyweight and, doing what he needs to do to save his career, but I just don't think this is the right move. I feel like the better move probably would have been going up to 145, which you might say, oh, he'll be undersized, he'll be this, he'll be that. Or you feel like maybe he was undersized at bantamweight, or maybe he could make flyweight, which he has so far been doing. But all that being said, typically going down is not good for strikers. Cody Garbrandt is a full, well-rounded mixed martial artist, but his primary thing is striking. As far as what we've seen is striking. Now I think his grappling will come down and be something so great that's going to be his main tool. He might try to mix it in, but Carr France has shown pretty solid takedown defense and solid and underrated grappling. So I don't think Garbrandt's going to have the greatest success with his wrestling. Then coming down, already having a questionable chin, he's going to be even more chinny. Now going out there with faster guys who are, typically going to be more technical overall on average. Now he's going there with a solid striker with some good power, good timing, and has a tendency to find that open shot. And Cody Garbrandt has a tendency to drop those hands. So 15 minutes is a long time coming down, drained out. And people say, oh, he looked good, but to me, he looked like a sucked out skeleton. Now he a glass chin guy with a sucked out skeleton. Now he can literally just blow on this guy at the wrong angle and put him to sleep. So I don't think it's gonna be the best thing for Cody Garbrandt. I think it's a desperation move, and I don't think it's gonna pay off for him. Kudos to him for trying to do it and putting together what he feels is best for his career. But I don't feel like it's gonna pan out for him. I think Carr France eventually finds that chin and puts him out of there. And I also feel like when Cody Garbrandt's not finding as much success on his feet like he think he will, he'll get frustrated out there and leave even bigger openings in his striking defense, trying to find these shots, trying to force things to happen against a shorter, faster guy. And I think Carr France finds that shot over the top. Is Cody Garbrandt's reaching with hooks, drops him, follows up, and finishes him off in that 2nd round. So in this fight, I got Carr France via 2nd round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Jeff Neal versus Santiago Ponzinibio. And I see one right here between Neal versus Ponzinibio. At first, this fight was a toss-up to me, but now I'm all in with Santiago Ponzinibio. Jeff Neal's over here getting drunk and driving around with gun charges and whatnot, or driving around with possession of firearms with like a week before his fight. That's not a good look. Like I said, he might not make it to the fight, but at this point, I got to lead to Santiago Ponzinibio. At least his head look on straight and he's looking good, where Jeff Neal was on the worst streak of his career. We're riding like a 2 or 3 fight losing streak. That's not a good look. I don't know where his mental at. Clearly driving around drunk and with guns in his car. Clearly his mind's not there, right? So I'm going to lean to the guy in a tight matchup on paper. Now not so tight matchup to the guy that still in the matchup in Santiago Ponzinibio, who got his mind, on right, his head on right, his head on straight, refocus, and looking to pile some wins together. I'm going to lean to that guy, and that guy is Ponzinibio. And I feel like Ponzinibio's pace is going to be too much for Jeff Neal. I feel like Jeff Neal going to look sharp a little bit early. But once Ponzinibio starts to find that jab on him, he's going to continue to find that jab. And Jeff Neal does kind of have a little bit of square stance. It's going to be hard for him to avoid that jab. He got some clean power, clean technique, like good offense and defense. But that jab's going to be to find him pretty easily, pretty often. And then eventually once Ponzinibio starts to land that jab consistently, he's going to be landing other shots, power shots behind that. I don't think he stops Neal at all. Still think this is a competitive fight. But I think Santiago Ponzinibio just always will be one step ahead of Jeff Neal, outvalue him and outworking him. Probably would even mix in a takedown or two in there just, as Jeff Neal starts to find any bit of a groove in there and not expecting it, hit him with like a blast double or a single just to throw him off balance. Probably not do much with it, but probably take like 20, 30 seconds off the clock and make Jeff Neal have to work to get back to his feet and get back into that groove. And by that point, Santiago Ponzinibio going to be on to plan B, plan C, and back to outworking him, back to working behind that jab. And Jeff Neal will be back to working behind. So in this one, I got Santiago Ponzinibio via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the women's bantamweight division, Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. So these two had fought for the undisputed bantamweight title, if I have not already said it. The undisputed women's bantamweight title, if I have not said it. But Yeah, these two women had fought when Juliana Pena was fresh off the Ultimate Fighter, or was like a year off the Ultimate Fighter. At that time period, Juliana Pena would have been a huge favorite to beat Amanda Nunes. That was Amanda Nunes getting tossed around and slammed by, what's her name? I forget her name right now. Kat Zagano. Yeah, that was that era, Nunes. In that era, Pena would without a doubt beat that Nunes. But time has passed, and since then, a whole lot has changed. Nunes went from a virtual, non-factor in many cases, to now literally the greatest women's MMA fighter of all time, and one of the greatest women's combative fighters of all time. Might even be the greatest woman combative fighter of all time as far as professional fighting at this point. But so a lot has changed since then, and I feel like that's all on factor. Juliana Pena, in the meanwhile, began submitted by strikers, got submitted by Valentina. Now she got submitted by Durandamy, and now she barely got past her last opponent. Now she fought what, Sarah McMahon, like 90-year-old Sarah McMahon with like grandchildren. So and she struggled to beat her. So like, I don't see what she's bringing for Nunes. I feel like Nunes is clearly the better striker, clearly the better grappler. Pena might have the better pace and the better wrestling to an extent, but I feel like Nunes really in all virtually factorable areas. Like you say, striking Nunes. You start to say pure grappling. Like the grappling overall, like this the overall. Striking overall, Nunes. Grappling overall, Nunes. Confidence overall, Nunes. Every single factor is on Nunes' side. But Pena got a dog chance in her. She can make it happen, but not the dog chance that I will throw any coins on at all. I just feel like Nunes gonna go in there, probably find her pretty early, hurt her. Pena probably gonna drag it on just maybe to the second round, just with some desperate takedown attempts, try to hold her against the cage, try to do some little flurries and latch onto her, and barely escape that first round just for her to get put away early in the second round. So in this fight, I have Amanda Nunes via second round TKO. Now to our main event, we have in the lightweight division, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the undisputed lightweight title. So I see this one. Let's say one thing before I start. This prediction is that I feel like it's going to continue to show that these events and these fights going to continue to show that Khabib was just in a different level from these guys. I'm not going to say Khabib was this and this, all that. Like, I'm definitely not a person that's a huge Khabib fan or highly on his bandwagon, but at least for his division and what he did and what he built himself to be, he fully had the division on lock. And that goes across any organization, any little particular weird matchup that could be an upset pick against him. I feel like he really had a lock on at that given time. He would have stayed around longer. Potentially some guys would have developed and been able to beat him. But at the point he left, and even to this point, maybe for the next 2-3 years, I don't think anybody going to be in position to really, would have beat Khabib as he was prior to retiring. But yeah, and I feel like this fight going to continue to show it. I feel like Oliveira in his last fight with Chandler was, pretty comfortable in his guard and pretty comfortable in a lot of positions that Oliveira is typically strong from. And we've seen Paul Felder able to weather the storm. We've seen Andy Pettis able to weather the storm. We've seen Ricardo Lamas able to weather the storm. So you can survive his onslaught early, or at least neutralize it to an extent. There's a great chance to beat him. So I see like guys like Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moises, but Islam Makhachev and Beneil Dariush being big threats to Oliveira. I feel like they can neutralize the jiu-jitsu for the most part, take him out that first round, beat him up in his guard, tire him out, then TKO him or tap him out. Poirier will have some issues. His wrestling defense could be a bit questionable. But I feel like Poirier has shown tough and gritness, and you can say, oh, Khabib did this to him, but Khabib would literally do that to Charles Oliveira, the same thing he did to Poirier, despite how good Oliveira's grappling is. He would be right in his guard, punching right to the body, elbowing to the face, posturing up and just pounding on him until Oliveira would get up his neck and he would tap him out. He would do the same thing to him, probably even quicker. So, but as far as takedown, that's a concern. I feel like Oliveira will have some, be a very competitive fight through the first round for both guys. Poirier probably lands some clean shots, hurting Oliveira. Oliveira probably securing some good positions, some takedowns. So a very tight matchup. But I feel like Poirier ultimately has more dog in him and has shown the ability to weather storms and, make the most of situations that maybe weren't the best early on. So I feel like he'll be able to get out of that first, the first couple rounds, still be competitive back and forth. But Poirier will only get stronger as the fight goes on. I feel like Oliveira will wilt. Is patterned. And yes, he might have shown the most heart he has ever shown in his career in his last fight against Chandler. But it's not a case that Poirier, matter of fact, nothing. Even if that is the case, the fight kind of plays out similar. Poirier's defense is a lot better than what Chandler was presenting. Chandler was presenting a lot of, same setup, same combinations, and, leaving himself open. Then when he was hurt, he was literally just running, and they showed no intelligent defense. So even you hurt Poirier, we've seen in several fights, the man knows how to recover. He knows how to defend. He got an interesting little shell defense. So Oliveira's really going to have to work, and I feel like Poirier would be able to weather with his unique defensive style when hurt. At least some intelligent defense, unlike what Chandler showed when he fought against Oliveira. So in those moments on the ground, I feel like Poirier will stay composed and survive the submission attempts. On feet, if hurt, he'll be able to survive. Whereas Oliveira, I feel like once hurt, Poirier is going to be able to turn it up on him, hurt him. But I feel like the case when he's going to fully be able to put it away is Oliveira is tired, worn down in the later rounds. And I see Poirier turning up the pace as Oliveira starts to wilt and puts him away in the 4th round via TKO. So in this fight, I have Dustin Poirier via 4th round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. And as always, thanks for watching. Now to our